Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tired. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe. Assembly's live, it's friendly vibes. Your soul medicine will give you life. You're a warrior, let's get this right. Warrior line, soul tribe.
Welcome to Warrior Line Podcast. This is an episode of Conversations with Aaron and Jennifer. We humbly ask you to subscribe and like to the channel as we continue to build toward and building our subscribers and putting things in the algorithm and having topics that you would really enjoy. We do book reviews, we do current events, we do all sorts of topics that really cut to the mainstream society and not so the mainstream society, but like and subscribe to the channel. This is going to be an episode that we're going to do on legacy media, the legacy media and its impact on society. So we thank you for joining us. Please like and share with a friend and ask them, and we hope to ask them to subscribe too. So with no further ado, we'll begin this conversation with the legacy media. And legacy media, by legacy media, we mean the mainstream media, whether it's newspapers, TV shows, television programs, and not just even Fox News. We're talking about all mainstream media and how they're used and abused and tools for an agenda that's not necessarily good for the people. And so, with no further ado, we'll get started. How you doing? With my great
I'm
co
doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, you ready? I'll let you open up with your initial thoughts.
So I want to open with racism is a choice. Racism is a choice that adults choose. I don't want to hear excuses about the way you grew up. I don't want to hear excuses about the town you lived in. I'm so disinterested in that. It's a flawed argument, and it's an excuse, and it's an insult. Racism is a choice. How this is related to legacy media is I see a lot of people posting, oh, my poor dad, my poor mom, my poor neighbor, my poor grandmother. They watch Fox News all day long and they're brainwashed by this channel. Racism is a choice. Fox News is not free. All televisions are not set to the Fox News channel. Racism is a choice. So these are people who are purposely looking for media to reinforce their internalized racism, bigotry, homophobia, etc., etc., etc. And then they're watching this feedback loop of negativity, reinforcing these beliefs that are counter to a decent society. And through that, they then become, quote, brainwashed. But is it really brainwashing if they already thought and felt those things? In Canada, they have standards for news, the internet, and the radio. You can't propagandize in Canada the way you do in America. And there's a lot of countries that you can't do that. And those are countries where Fox News is not allowed. Racism is a choice.
Okay. Yeah, I just well, definitely it is. And I want, when I look at my notes, I want to start most people don't understand the difference between actually news and propaganda. And when we say legacy media, when you use the word media, when you said news outlet, to your point about Fox News is not a news outlet.
No.
It is a proponent of propaganda. And propaganda is based on a set of goals and agenda that the people who are producing the propaganda want. So in other words, they are there to want you to believe what they're saying. So that's not news. News saying, okay, this happened. Here are the facts. Here's the evidence. You decide what to do with it. they claim that, but no, propaganda says we're going to tell you what to think and feel. And if you, like you just said, you choose the person, meaning you choose it, you choose, or I choose, or they choose, or those people choose to go along with the propaganda because it is not news. Because you can easily tell the situation now when something is a lie. Something is a lie, i.e., we can go in real time right now. A certain individual, a very prominent individual, said a former president by the name of Barack Obama was committing treason. Now, is that news? And oh, no, because any person who studies and reasonable and understand the facts, because they understand facts, know that news, right? When in quote, that news that went out is not news because it's a fundamental truth based on any reasonable person. Both sides says that is not a factual statement, but certain agency, i.e., the one you brought, Fox News, will present that as news. I'm just trying to make a point. No, that is propaganda because they know what they're saying is a lie. When you know what you're saying is a lie, that in itself is not news. That is a lie and it's propaganda and it's caught and they doing it. Why are they doing it? To my point, they're doing this to put in the minds of their readers who choose, as you said, to listen to that. So they choose to believe that he committed treason because that's what they want to hear. So therefore, when we say legacy, when I say legacy, I'm talking about propaganda machines who knowingly well know what the information that they're giving out to the public. And whether it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, whether it's New York Times, Wall Street Journal, whatever it is, however you consume your news, podcasts, whatever, in today's world, when you fundamentally know that is a lie, that in itself is not news. If I reported to you that 2 weeks ago in Guadalupe in Kerrville, Texas, there was a flood, that is a fact. That is not me making that up. That is not propaganda. You might not like it's a flood, right? You might not like that people got killed, but you can't change the fact that I said there was a flood in Guadalupe County in Kerrville, Texas. Whether you like it or not, that's a fact. That's the difference. News means you say, I'm giving you the factual information and not what I want you to feel, what I want you to believe, what I want you to think. And that's the difference. Because a lot of people don't know. That's why Malcolm X says newspaper will have you believe that right is wrong and wrong is right. And they do it with a straight face. And so when we're talking about legacy media, we really have to make it plain in what it is, because a lot of people say, well, I got the right to make my own decision. Yes, you do. But why would you sit there and listen to something who you know, and by evidence, that is a lie? That has always struck me as people who are just, you, as you eloquently said, no, you want that. So what I call it, these news agents, these so-called news outlets are not presenting the news, they're feeding. They're feeding their chosen crowd and people to choose them what they want to hear to get the result they want. That is not news. If I tell you that people were killed in the Guadalupe River based on that flood, you can feel it's your. I'm not feeding you. I'm sharing with you information. How you consume it, how you process it. Some people don't care. Some people might cry. Some people might whatever. Whatever you process, your product. But when I'm telling you somebody is this, when I know factually it is not, then that is fundamentally an arm of a propaganda and an authoritative outlet. And to the point of what I'm getting to, that this is why I say these organizations are white supremacist organizations, because they put forth, uphold, cover up white supremacy for the purposes of ratings. And they do it on purpose. Just like the people you said choosing to watch, they choose to present white supremacy in a light that people can accept because that's what they want. I think somebody put an article on Blue Sky. I miss the thrill of you know who.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you can tell they miss it because he holds court every day because that's what they wanted. And to the point with this breaking the story right now, the media is so disingenuous right now. And as I put, here's where the hill I'm going to die on. These outlets, all of them, Fox, MSC, CNN, I don't hold allegiance to none of them. You know why? Because I hold allegiance to the people who suffer. All of them, not just Fox. Oh, that's easy. All of them knew that when the campaign was last year, that these girls, and I'm so tired of this too, quit calling underage girls women. They were girls. That's a difference with a distinction. When you say they're a women, mindset change. A woman can do what she wants to. A girl cannot. That's critical. And they knew at the time that this person was was situation going to happen, and they had no interest in covering it because they wanted him back in that White House because the thrill was gone. And now for the media to run around and act like this is bombshell news, like this just came over the hill and around the mountain and nobody knew what was coming. It is the epitome of white supremacy because they are trying to abdicate their responsibility because they know it should be reported. But my point is why I'm saying this because nobody cares about the girls who suffer, who may be women now, but at the point of suffering, they were girls. Nobody cares about the girls who suffering. The only thing they care about right now, and this is a ratings bonanza, is being watched 24/7. And the dollar signs are coming in because people are watching it, because now he sits in power and people are watching it and they know that. And now now it's because they are drawing attention. They care nothing about the victims. They care nothing about the girls who suffer. They care nothing about the trauma they receive. They just know right now this is eyeballs and ratings. And that's the epitome of white supremacy, death. As long as I can use a story I don't care what harms it cause, I don't care who's suffering that, I don't care what lie I promulgate. As long as I can make some money, that's all that matters. That's it.
I think a really important point here is the Black demographic has never fallen prey to propaganda. We are well versed in understanding and knowing white supremacy, white supremacist tactics, white supremacist talking points. I'm reading a book right now that was recently released called The Battle for the Black Mind, and it's a really beautiful book. It talks about Black colleges and how slave owners made it illegal for slaves to even be enslaved, to even learn how to read. And the white supremacist idea that Black people were inferior to them, so we could never be as smart as them. And so I want to counterbalance that reality with the blatant stupidity of racists who seek out fake news outlets like Fox News to reinforce their negative racist loop, bigoted loop, homophobic loop within their own minds. They need that echo chamber speaking to them, reinforcing their horrible internalized thoughts. And so a federal judge dismissed a lawsuit against Fox News after lawyers for the network argued that no reasonable viewer takes primetime host Tucker Carlson seriously. Tucker Carlson, in that court case, was talking about Karen McDougal. Karen McDougal is the woman who had an affair with that felonious pig, white supremacist extraordinaire that sits in the White House. I don't know if you remember that.
Mhm.
She was the Playboy model. They had this ongoing affair, yada da. Anywho, so there was this case in court, and a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit against Fox News after the lawyers for the network argued that no one takes us or our news, quote, news people like Tucker Carlson seriously. They used that same argument in the voting machine case that they lost for, I believe it was 787 billion or some crap. It was crazy. But these people still watch this network knowing that they're liars. They're profiting off of lying. And Fox isn't the only network. There's Fox, there's OWN, there's Newsmax. I mean, there's multiple white supremacist based, quote, news channels. And that wouldn't be there if there weren't people giving them eyeballs.
Assemblies live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, it's simply time. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe. Assemblies live, it's friendly vibe. Your soul